I'm so excited to introduce these two guys. You heard Fred Covely last week. Fred Covely is the CEO of a company called Cloak Tech, and we were talking about a company that they did an acquisition on called ShareRails, and he brought his cohort in the company today. Bill Bossung's with us as well. Say hello to my friends from Cloak Tech. Good to have you. Fred, nice to see you. Bill,
Thanks,
good to
Sully.
see you. So CEO, CFO, president, the 50,000-foot guy, and the money guy.
Correct.
Is that how that works?
Pretty much.
Fred, I'm going to let you take over again from last time. And let's talk a little bit about, first of all, very quickly, Cloak Tech, and then how that relates to ShareRails, because this was an acquisition. I think it's a good lesson for people that don't really understand how publicly traded companies work.
Sure. So we've been involved. We started Cloak Tech doing ad fraud, which is sort of related to your prior guest, but it's basically people charging marketeers and then fraudulently charging them and getting dollars from them.
So what Steve was talking about, of course, was consumer fraud. This is business fraud. This is when a guy says, you buy ads on this website, you're going to get this many clicks, and actually it's not really happening, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And Cloak would detect that.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
So in looking at that and looking at some of the other changes that are happening, we decided it would be better to start looking at acquiring companies that were driving some of that advertising. And so mobile, if we get into this, is going to be a big piece of the future in retail, and ShareRails is right in the middle of that in retail.
Isn't that what you guys used to call back in the 90s vertical integration? When you bought everybody above you and below you, and because why are we doing business with them when we can own them type thing? This helps because obviously this is technology based stuff, correct?
Yeah, that's right, exactly.
Talk about Bill as the CFO of the company. Talk about the structure of that thing. When you guys are a publicly traded company and you decide to say, okay, things are looking good here. I'm not going to pay attention to the trading for a minute. I'm not going to pay attention to our existing business model. I'm going to go take a look at an acquisition. What's the first thing you look at? Are you looking at numbers at this point? Are you looking at management at this point? Are you looking at how well it fits with you guys, or is this all the above?
A lot of it is all of the above. You don't necessarily look at the revenue numbers. What we found out is we looked at who previously invested in ShareRails. Mm-hmm. One of their biggest investors was Google.
Wow.
Tomorrow Ventures. Actually,
so you stepped back and took a 50,000-foot view and said, look, wait a second. If the smart money's in, we should be thinking about this.
Right. And another thing is with the synergy, there's a lot of synergies with the technology.
Right.
So another investor was Grace Beauty Investments out of New York.
Okay.
And they specialize completely in retail. So we said, well, if these two guys have invested in this company along with their other core investors, let's take a real hard look at this.
So you got Google, a tech company that's investing.
Actually, it's Tomorrow Ventures, a venture company inside of Google.
But still, yes, they're tech investors. Then you got this other company who is a retail investor.
They've done Supergoop, they've done Harry's, they've been in business 22 years.
So there's the intersection of retail and technology, and suddenly you said, okay, wait a second, this might fit in with what we're doing already. So
right.
Fred, explain for the people that want to know what ShareRails does exactly what it is, because this is pretty outstanding. We had a guy in the air a number of times, the name of Vince Marconi, who runs an app called Price Patrol. I think you guys should meet, by the way. These guys have an app that'll tell you what is in stock closest to you at the lowest price. They're using data scraping, retail, because what he figured out is that 92% of your shopping is still done in brick and mortar. And only 8% is done online, and most people don't realize that. So isn't that kind of the idea here?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So no one's been able to really skin the local inventory, to really be able to handle that properly.
Right.
And Google hasn't been able to, but we believe we've got a pretty good strategy for doing that. And the evolution in retail that you're seeing right now in malls, we think is going to help that cause. Mm-hmm. So we think it's a great place to be in as local inventory on mobile.
Talk about and you talk about Google not being able to do this. I mean, you think that there's a proprietary advantage for everything, and everything's kind of been licked. But retail's kind of a moving target here, especially when you're dealing with international sort of playing field,
sure.
right?
Sure.
How does ShareRails fit into that? So tell me exactly, is this a B2B platform or a B2C platform or both?
This basically, what ShareRails does is take the local inventory in the store and then make that available for online ads, mobile ads, for the tenant to use, for the retailer to use in their own market.
Give me an example on what that looks like, how that works.
So, for example, let's say that let's say you had a small boutique store, had a particular type of shoe in it.
Mm-hmm.
We have that in the inventory. It's not online anywhere else.
Right.
And if someone, let's say, is near that mall or near that retailer and does a search for shoes,
Mm-hmm.
we'll show that in the search results. Hey, this thing's 3 miles away. Here's what it is, and they won't find that search result anywhere else.
And so the idea is it comes down to being proprietary, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, at the end of the day, if you can offer information that nobody else can get, that's the deal. Guys, take a look at the website here. I've got Fred Covely in studio. I got Bill Bossung in studio. These guys are involved with Cloak Tech. They are a publicly traded company. We'll talk about that in just a second. But it's also ShareRails. ShareRails, of course, is the company they did an acquisition on. So I'm going to turn back to Bill when we get back from the commercial break and talk a little bit about the idea behind what goes into an acquisition. But it says it right there, searchable shelves. I wanted to deal with both of those things. By the way, stock symbol GRCK is the stock symbol. If you want to go to their website, there's a couple of websites you can go to. You can go to sharerails.com or greycloaktech.com, right? There's two. And we're going to talk about sort of how those go together in a second. Once again, guys, let's take a look at the numbers before I get back and give these guys a break for a minute, because I just got, it looks like here, and I think it's important that we take a look at this. It looks like here that NASDAQ may have hit a new record today. Can I look at, is that the Dow? Look at the NASDAQ. Wow. Yes, another record on the NASDAQ. Look at what do we hit? What did we close out there? Sweet mother of you know what. Man. By the way, look at the bottom down here. Remember that stochastic oscillator? That's what's called overbought. That means we're not going to stay there for very long. Man, look at that. NASDAQ hit a new record today. And every new high is higher than the previous high. Every new low higher than the previous low. That's what's called an uptrend, kids. Do not buy here. Big Biz Show. See you in a minute.
What's this cold reaction? Well,